Most runners miss this simple drill that can make you faster at any age in just 30 seconds. Have you ever finished your run and just called it a day? But what if I told you that the fastest, most resilient runners add one simple step at the end of a run one time a week? Strides are the secret sauce almost nobody's talking about and are not included in generic training plans. But they're the shortcut to getting faster, running smoother, and staying injury free, even if you're battling an old Achilles or hamstring issue. Stick with me for the next few minutes, and I'll show you exactly how to do strides, why they work, and the three biggest mistakes I see runners make every week as a running physical therapist and coach. Our services and community have helped over 600 runners get back to pain-free running, conquer their first half marathon, or even run their fastest marathons without having to worry about injuries or slowing down. Ready to unlock the most underrated tool in your running toolbox? Let's get ready to add a spark to your running like hundreds of runners already have. So, what are strides? Strides are practicing small chunks of controlled, faster running. Let's say a sprint would be 100% of your max speed. Strides are faster running at about, let's say, 85 to 90% of the fastest speed that you can run. Or if you've raced a bunch of 5Ks before, then you want to think of going at your 5K race pace, especially if you're above 40. This will be fast enough to get the benefits of this foundational running drill. These are performed after an easy run, and they are the first introduction to faster running or a precursor to speed workouts. By the way, I'm Dr. Dwayne Scotty, physical therapist, coach, educator, and founder of Spark Healthy Runner. And this stuff is what I do all day long, allowing you to get stronger, run faster, and enjoy lifelong injury-free running without having to worry about getting injured the next time you train for a race. So, what are strides not? Because we need to know, like, what are these things not? They are not speed work. They are not sprints. They are not hard. They're not leaving the body fatigued. They're not forced. So they are easy controlled running, or faster controlled running, I should say. And why do strides work? They are the foundational at becoming a better runner. They are really a coordination drill that allows you to become more efficient at running by training your neuromuscular system. And they improve your running form and how economical you can be at running. They make running easier and are the first introduction to faster running. So they prepare your body for speed work and getting faster as a runner. They are safe. This is fast running, but not hard running. They don't tax the cardiovascular system or overload the musculoskeletal system too much, putting you at risk for tendon injuries, like if you jumped right into, let's say, repeat 400s or 800s or repeat miles during a training cycle. Therefore, they should be the very first introduction to faster running for all runners. But then when you have them in really your runner's toolkit, these can continue to be used as part of your training, even when you progress your speed work to the next level. So now you're doing some tempo runs. Now you're doing some hard interval runs. You will still keep strides in the mix as part of your training. And lastly, they're going to help bulletproof your body for injury-free running, so they can help improve your running form. So not doing too much too soon, and prevent that stubborn Achilles, hamstring, posterior tibial tendon, or IT band pain from coming back every time that you try to train for a race. And if you're already getting value from this, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next video that will help you get faster, stay healthy, so you can actually build a stronger running body. Hey runner, want 4 free gels? Did you know that proper nutrition is one of the 6 steps to growing in your running journey? So if you've never eaten anything for your runs, or you've tried other gels, but you just didn't like the taste or quite frankly, the texture, or you always get stomach discomfort whenever you try to fuel your workouts, it's time to give UCAN a try. It is the fuel that allowed me to crush a 23-minute marathon PR, and UCAN is what powered my 48.6 magical miles in Disney as part of the Dopey Challenge. The top US marathon runners, whether it's Emily Sisson, Sarah Hall, or Emma Bates, all use UCAN to power their workouts and their runs. But it's not just for elite runners. As a running physical therapist and coach, it is my go-to recommendation for the athletes I work with. Now, UCAN is offering our Spark Healthy Runner community an exclusive chance to try 4 Edge samples for free. All you do is pay the cost of shipping. So just head over to ucan.co/healthy runner to claim this offer, or just drop UCAN in the comments and I'll shoot you the special link. And while you're over there, you might as well grab a box of energy bars. Salted peanut butter is my favorite, and I have it after my runs and before my strength sessions. As always, let's maintain a strong mind, a strong body, and let's just keep on running, powered by UCAN. So how do we do strides? How do we actually execute these? These are going to be performed after your easy runs 1 time a week in your training, or if you're already doing speed work, then they're going to be performed after your warm-up of easy running and right before the workout actually starts. So that workout portion of your speed work begins. And what you're going to do is you're going to run a distance of roughly 100 meters. So think about the straightaway of a track, but you don't need a track to do this. So just think of that distance. So whether it's 2 telephone poles in your neighborhood, 3 driveways, 5 mailboxes, whatever landmarks that you can use in your neighborhood, what you're going to do is you're going to run, ramp up for about 5 seconds, hold that controlled running, and then you're going to ramp down for 5 seconds. Then you're going to turn around and recovery jog back to the start. I like to start my athletes with 20-second strides followed by a 1-minute recovery jog. And we usually repeat these 4 times. That's a great starting place. Therefore, that would be a 5-second ramp up. You would hold 85 to 90% of your max speed, or think about your 5K race pace, for about 10 seconds. And then you're going to ramp down for about 3 to 5 seconds. So that's going to give you that total 20 seconds of strides. So you want to think of this as like a bell curve. You're kind of ramping up, you're coming up, and then you're coming back down. So I like to also think of this as like, these are not sprints. So they are not like flicking on the light switch. This is like using that dimmer switch, right? You're going to gradually ramp up your speed, hold that speed, and then you're going to gradually bring it down. All right. If you wind up honestly going from 0 to 90% in 1 to 2 seconds, I can pretty much guarantee you that you will get injured. So this is an important point, especially as you get started in adding in strides as an adult runner in your 30s, 40s, and 50s. Because if you try to like bring it back to like shuttle run days in high school and you just try to go out all out sprint, it's not going to be pretty. And you're going to really lose the whole like goal of actually adding these into your training. So how do we progress these strides? Right. So like I mentioned, a great starting point is doing like 4 repetitions, about 20 seconds. And usually after about, let's say someone's new to strides, doing this for anywhere from like 3 to 6 weeks, 1 time a week, right? This is going to be performed after your easy run. Then I like to advance to 30 seconds of strides. Or the other thing that you can do is increase the repetitions. But usually I like to kind of extend this out a little bit so someone gets really used to controlled faster running. So we'd extend this out to 30-second strides, 1-minute recovery, jog, repeating 4 times. So now we're working on really holding that faster running for 10 seconds more, but you're staying in complete control. Your face is relaxed. your neck is relaxed. Your shoulders aren't like up to your ears, right? You're keeping your neck nice and relaxed, shoulder blades down. You're working on your arm swing. You're keeping your elbows in. You're getting good counter rotation of your spine, and you're really focusing on knee drive. You're opening up that stride. That's why they're called strides, right? You're opening up your hip joints. So you're focusing on leg turnover. So as soon as that foot hits the ground, you're picking it back up. Foot hits the ground, picking it back up. This is going to actually work different muscles than you work at your easy conversational pace, where the majority of the work that's being done is by your calf muscles. Here, when we do strides, because we're opening up the hips, you're going to see a lot more muscle activation of the hip flexors and the hamstring muscles come into play. And then let's say we extend that time out for a little bit longer. The next progression would be adding in repetitions, really progressing from 4 repetitions to a total of 6 reps to finish that easy run plus strides. So most of my athletes that I work with who are recovering from an injury or working toward, let's say, their first half marathon or going after a marathon PR, I wouldn't prescribe more than 6 repetitions of strides. Doing 8 reps can be done if you are a higher mileage runner. And I'm talking about those that are running more than 60 miles per week, but that is not going to be the majority of you listening to this right now. So try and keep this in the 4 to 6 rep range, even as you become experienced in doing these year round as part of your training. And if you want to learn more about proper training year round and the little tweaks that just make a massive difference in keeping you healthy as a runner, this is all I talk about in my free newsletter, Healthy Runner. Link in the description for this. So now let's get to some common mistakes I see in runners who are performing strides as part of their actual weekly training. So some common mistakes that I see is, number 1 is sprinting. So going too fast, like emptying the tank. Number 2, running with poor form, head looking down, shoulders rounded, elbows out, overstriding, leading with the foot. Number 3, tightening your face, tensing up. Number 4, doing too many reps, more than 6 reps, or too many times during the week. So you're doing them like 2 to 3 runs per week. And then finally, not respecting recovery after the run with a cool down, whether that is some mobility or static stretching to do after that. So now I want to know, have you done strides before? If so, I'm curious to know if you do them year round or only during specific training cycles for a goal race of yours. Just comment year round or training cycle below, as I'd love to know more about your training. And this allows me to know how best that I can help you in creating future content specifically for what you're going through. And I do read all of my comments. Next, I'm going to share with you some variations of strides that can take it up a notch to the next level. But before I do that, if you're getting value from this and enjoying these tips on how you can run faster in a safe manner, I would greatly appreciate it if you hit the like button so I can continue creating free content like this so you can maintain a strong mind, a strong body, and just keep running. Also, if you're loving this conversation, then you will certainly love my 6-step plan to grow as a runner free guide. You can get Spark Healthy Runner's 6 foundational principles to growing as a runner and improve your mindset, strength training, running design, nutrition, recovery, and race strategy. And when you master those 6 key parts of your running journey, you'll not only feel more confident in getting stronger and faster, you'll stay healthy and enjoy the process of running again. So you can grab your free downloadable ebook by clicking the link I have for you in the description, or just simply go to learn.sparkhealthyrunner.com/grow. So let's get into some variations of strides. The first variation I want to talk about is actually doing strides in the middle of a run to shake things up a bit. And this can keep a run interesting if you're getting bored a bit. It's almost like a fartlek workout, if you've heard of that before. But these will only be for that shorter duration of time. So you're still only doing 20 to 30 seconds, but you're doing it in the middle of an easy run as opposed to the end of an easy run. So the next variation is actually doing strides at the end of your long run. So this is where you're really focusing on getting leg turnover when your legs are fatigued because you're at the end of your long run. I know Coach Lou actually likes programming this at different times within our Healthy Runner team. And I've done these before, which it definitely hits differently than when you do it with an easy run and then you follow that up with strides. And then another very common variation that you're going to see out there is doing hill strides, or some people call them like hard uphills. Or if you're doing them as part of strides, then they shouldn't be very hard because you're not holding for a long duration of time. And this can be very effective for those of you who are training for a hillier race and you're going to have to conquer some hills. So this is a great way before you do speed work up hills to actually do hill strides, because again, this is preparing the body for the speed work that's coming. So it allows the musculoskeletal system to adapt to shorter periods of strides. And I just want to caution those of you who maybe have battled Achilles pain or hamstring tendinopathy, PHT pain, because it's definitely going to increase the demand to those specific structures. So you really want to be careful on the grade of incline that you pick and not picking a super steep hill when you're trying these out. So you're strategically, checking out the landscape. And for when I do these, my coach programs these, it's always, you got to do a little planning, because you have to plan for your run to end where there is an incline that you can actually do these on. So they do just require a little bit more planning in advance, but they can be very effective at actually getting that kind of posterior chain more active. So the glutes, the hamstrings, and the calf muscles. However, just, you don't want to go overboard, right? They're not sprints. You want to think of them as controlled, faster running strides. So my word of caution to you is that if you're in your 40s and above, our tendons aren't as strong and resilient as they are in the 20s. So you don't want to go out all full-blown gusto with these, because I've actually made that mistake before. Actually, last year, I can remember specifically doing some hill strides. Very cold winter day in Connecticut. It was in the single digits, and I felt my Achilles after that specific run for a couple of weeks. So you got to be making sure you're cautious as you add in hill strides if you've never done them before and you are in your 40s and or you have a history of having Achilles pain or hamstring pain. And then the last variation I want to mention is just, if you're a treadmill runner, you can do strides on the treadmill. I didn't specifically mention that earlier, but you can do these on the treadmill. And it's just a little more difficult, I guess, to keep them as smooth, because you got to kind of hit that up arrow. And, most of the treadmills will ramp up the speed, which is nice. So you can hit it, and then kind of get in your little groove. But it's just not as, I would say it doesn't feel as natural than when I do them on the road versus the treadmill. So you can do them on the treadmill. It's kind of hard to gauge how fast you want to go. So let's just take some numbers just for example. Maybe typically you're running, let's just say a 6.0 on the treadmill speed, for your first couple of strides. And I didn't mention this before, but all of your strides, the goal is not to get faster with each rep. However, it will naturally occur because the body is becoming more efficient at running faster. Meaning, like, the first stride you do might feel awkward. You might not feel real coordinated. You might be like, wow, that kind of felt weird. The second one always feels better. The third one's like the sweet spot. I feel like once you get to the third rep, you're like, ooh, okay, I'm feeling efficient. I feel like I'm really opening my hips. I'm hitting the ground, popping right off the ground. I'm feeling like very springy. And then the fourth rep, same thing, you kind of feel like you're in the zone. So naturally, if you were to look at your splits, not that that's the goal, Okay, I want to be clear here because the goal isn't to run faster. These are a drill. This is like, prepping the body for faster running. But what you should naturally see is a slight increase in speed. So, that being said, the reason I mention this is if you're on the treadmill, maybe the first rep, if you were doing a 6.0, I'd maybe increase it to 6.8 for the first rep. Maybe the second rep, you increase to 7.0. So just to kind of give you a gauge of like, how do you adjust the speed? Because you have to adjust the speed first before you actually do the stride, as opposed to just going on feel when you are running on the road. So hopefully that kind of makes sense. But those are some, nice variations that you can add into your training. And I know personally, as an adult onset runner myself, I never did strides until 6 or 7 years ago or really like 6 or 7 years into my running journey. And that was only before races or as a warm up right before doing like a specific speed work session. And when I started working with my current coach, she actually prescribed these for me on a weekly basis, no matter if I was in the middle of a marathon training cycle or if I was in base building mode and in off season training. And I can tell you that each and every week, I felt more confident in my running stride and my running form. I became more efficient at getting my legs to run faster and turn over better because I was able to train my neuromuscular system. So kind of sending those signals from the brain to the muscles and like teaching them what to do. Right. And became more efficient at really hitting the ground, picking my foot back up faster without it really actually hindering my recovery as a master's runner, which is super important for us as master's runners. And in addition to seeing these results for myself as a runner in my mid 40s, I want to share with you a couple other examples of when to add in strides and the results that they provide. Strides were actually a turning point to Connor's comeback. And Connor's like a good example of how strides can be a game changer in a smart return to run process. And Connor's in his mid 30s. He's a former college track runner who now teaches at West Point. He also is a dad of 2 young kids. And like a lot of us, wanted to keep getting faster while balancing family and career. And unfortunately, he did come to me when he was feeling like stuck. His proximal hamstring tendinopathy had flared up after he started doing a YouTube yoga series and ramped up his running mileage at the same time. He did all of the quote unquote right things. He saw an Army physical therapist. He did the standard rehab exercises and even took 7 full weeks off from running. But the problem was he still wasn't able to actually run without pain. So this wasn't the first time either. Injuries have always kept him from actually tackling marathons in the past, and it was starting to feel like this same frustrating cycle. So when we started working together, the first thing we did was focused on getting his body stronger and giving his tendon the right kind of loading exercises, not just generic ones you'll find online. And as his strength and tolerance improved, we carefully reintroduced running, slowly building up the mileage, building up the number of days of running per week. And here's where stride came in. Instead of throwing him straight into workouts or hard intervals, we used strides as his first taste of faster running. So short, controlled efforts that let him practice speed without overloading the tendon. This was the key step that gave Connor confidence, not only that his hamstring could handle running again, but that he can actually progress toward the kind of speed work he needed for his running goals. And by the end of our 16-week program, Connor wasn't just running again. He was running over 10 miles pain-free and felt ready to take on structured speed training. Today, he's working with Coach Lou and our team to safely build toward crushing his fall half marathon. And Connor summed it up perfectly in his testimonial on our Spark Healthy Runner Google page, is that he said, Spark Healthy Runner was exactly what I needed to overcome proximal hamstring tendinopathy. In 4 months, I went from not being able to run due to hamstring pain to running over 10 miles and training for my first half marathon in several years. I wish I would have found this program sooner, but I'm glad you did find us, Connor. So strides weren't just a drill for Connor; they were like the bridge between being injured and finally running with confidence again. And for all of you mother runners out there, you'll be able to relate to Molly's story, who went from busy mom runner to confident half marathoner. When Molly came to us, she had already been running for about 2 years. Like many runners, she was following a generic online running plan, doing her best to fit in training into an already packed schedule as a full-time working mom of 3 teenagers, young adults. And she loved running, but knew she needed more, especially when it came to strength training and structured workouts. She had heard about these principles even from the Healthy Runner podcast. She had heard, us talking about these principles, but didn't really have the time or energy to kind of piece everything together on her own. And that's when she connected with me, and I knew Coach Latoya on our team would be a perfect fit for where Molly wanted to go in her running journey. And from the very beginning, Coach Latoya really helped Molly navigate any setbacks. She did have like a sudden leg issue that popped up while traveling for a race. Instead of stopping, they created a re-entry to run plan that kept Molly consistent and safe. And as Molly progressed, strides became an important piece of her training, not as quote unquote sprints or intimidating speed sessions, but as short, controlled bursts at the end of her easy runs. These strides gave Molly the confidence to move faster without breaking down, sharpening her form, and helping prepare her body for tougher workouts. And the results showed. This past May, Molly conquered the Mystic Half Marathon, a notoriously hilly course with over 1,800 feet of elevation gain. So kudos to you, Molly. And despite training mostly on flat terrain, she powered through with strength, resilience, and confidence, all thanks to the combination of Coach Latoya's structured strength plan, thoughtful race prep, and those small but mighty strides. Now Molly is training for her first marathon in Disney, and I actually get to meet her in person. So I'm super excited about that. With strides, strength, and structured recovery all working together, she's stepping into the next chapter stronger than ever. And her words sum it up best. She says, before I invested in Spark Healthy Runner, I didn't know where to start with strength or workouts. Coach Latoya helped me level up my training, guided me through setbacks, and gave me the confidence to keep going. I'm excited for what's ahead. And if you think you're too old to add in strides into your training, John's story is one that really inspires me personally, and I think it's going to resonate with many of you listening to this. For over 30 years, John struggled with recurring Achilles pain. He'd go through the cycle, so many runners know: flare up, rest, calf raises, heel drops, then get back into running, only for the pain to return. But earlier this year, it came back harder than ever. He was stuck in that injury, rest, repeat loop. When John found my Achilles content, he finally felt like things made sense. He joined my program, and together we built a progressive plan to rebuild his strength, adjust his running form, and get him back on the roads. One of the key turning points was when we added strides back into his training. This gave him a safe, controlled way to reintroduce faster running. It rebuilt his confidence and improved his efficiency without aggravating his Achilles. That's key. Now, just 4 months later, John is 61 years old, guys, running sub 8-minute miles, pain-free, and even racing again. He's proof that you're never too old to get stronger, faster, and enjoy running again, especially when you have the right tools in your toolbox and a clear plan. You can run stronger, faster, and injury-free by joining the membership built for lifelong runners, no matter where you are in your running journey. If you're feeling overwhelmed or frustrated, if you're worried about nagging injuries, or maybe your focus is just in getting faster, stronger, or just plain staying healthy, the Healthy Runner Academy is the place for you. The Academy takes your next step from listening to the Healthy Runner podcast or watching the YouTube channel and provides you with the step-by-step system to finally run strong, stay healthy, and avoid burnout with expert coaching and a supportive community behind you. It's perfect for adult runners who want to stop nagging injuries, get faster and stronger, build a resilient running body, and enjoy consistent, pain-free training. You can join the wait list today and be the first in line when we open the doors again, which only happens 3 times a year. And by joining the wait list, you're going to get a special bonus to reset your running journey. Simply go to learn.sparkhealthyrunner.com/HRA. This was Strides 101, the most underrated running tool for speed and injury prevention. My name is Dr. Dwayne Scotty, and my mission is to empower you to feel strong and confident in getting faster so you can enjoy lifelong injury-free running. I'm the founder of Spark Healthy Runner, and you're watching the Healthy Runner podcast channel. Like and subscribe and hit that bell so you're notified when I do another video like this. And this training was all about how to do strides and how you incorporate them into your training on a weekly basis. Remember, 1 time a week, right? However, none of that matters if you don't incorporate strength training into your running in order to actually stay healthy so you can actually get faster. Learn my top 7 exercises for runners and follow along with my 25-minute strength workout by watching this next video.